Hi everyone, this is Victor with NYC Geek Society, and I'm here to talk about the news that the Netflix series The Haunting of Hill House was renewed for a second season. They released this information last week. Now, if you don't know much about The Haunting of Hill House, it dropped in October of last year, 2018, and it was based on a 1959 novel written by author Shirley Jackson, who wrote a number of thriller novels and sort of other horror-related fare. Now, this was not the first adaptation of the novel. In 1963, there was a film called The Haunting that was based on the novel, starring Russ Tamblyn, who actually is in the Netflix series The Haunting of Hill House. He plays the therapist in it, and he's most well known probably for West Side Story. So that was the first adaptation. Then in 1999, there was another adaptation called The Haunting, this one starring Liam Neeson, which I can't really recommend because it really wasn't that good. They're going to title it The Haunting of Hill House, as it's supposed to be, but they decided to keep the name The Haunting. That's because there was the House on Haunted Hill remake that was being released that same year, 1999, which is a remake of the 1959 movie, The House on Haunted Hill. None of this to be confused with any other haunting titles that are around. So this is the essentially the third adaptation of the novel. The first one for TV, if you call Netflix TV. Now, it departed quite a bit from the novel, and it did so in a very inventive way. And it's a sort of show that picked up a lot of steam through word of mouth. When it dropped, really didn't know too much about it, but through word of mouth and people telling me that I had to watch it, I sat down and watched it. And while it was a bit slow going in the beginning, it was worth it in the end. Great show. And I said I do highly, highly, highly recommend it if you get the chance to see it. It was a very deep, very emotional, more emotional than I thought that it could be. But it departed quite a bit from the novel and added characters. So it's only if you see the movies, the two movies, and then the show, it's not going to be the same. Characters were invented for the series. But as I said, it's very, 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 very good. Now, it was announced that last week that there was going to be a multi-year deal with the producers. And what they wanted to do with the show is turn it into an anthology series, just like American Horror Story. So not much information has been released yet. We don't know if it's going to be set in the same universe as the Haunting of Hill House, or whether the actors from Haunting Hill House, just like they do in American Horror Story, will play roles in the new show. Now, what we do know about the second season of the show, I guess the Haunting Anthology, which will be what it's probably called, it's going to be called, the title they have for it is The Haunting of Bly Manor. Now, The Haunting of Bly Manor is based on a 1898 novella by author Henry James, called A Turn of the Screw. Now, A Turn of the Screw is very, very influential when it comes to horror and gothic horror, and it's been made quite a number of times, adapted a lot. It was adapted as a Broadway show in 1950. There was a movie called The Innocents that was released in 1961. There was an adaptation called The Nightcomers in 1972. There was an adaptation with the correct title, The Turn of the Screw, that was released in 1992. And The Turning, which is another adaptation with Mackenzie Davis, it's going to be released next year, 2020. Now, we don't know when The Haunting of Bly Manor is going to be released, but as you can see how influential Turn of the Screw actually is. It's also been adapted for television as television movies quite a number of times. There was one in 1959, 1974, 1982, 1989, 2009. There was also a story arc in the famed late 1960s Gothic soap opera Dark Shadows. They did a whole story arc based on the turn of the screw. And even in Star Trek, it appeared in Star Trek and Star Trek Voyager, where on the holodeck, Captain Janeway was sort of reading some sort of, or playing some sort of Gothic role, which evidently was based on the turn of the screw. So you can see how truly influential turn of the screw is. Now, I'm sure that what they're going to do will be much different than what the original novel is, or even what these other adaptations are. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to work out, and I'm excited to see what they do with the material. I enjoyed the first season so much that I hope that they adapt other novels as well. Even though I haven't seen the second season yet, I have high expectations. I've been let down before in the past, like True Detective, which was, first season was great, and the second season was horrible. And American Horror Story sort of has its ups and downs season to season. But with American Horror Story, whatever they do is very interesting. So I'm sure that the same thing will apply to the Haunting of Hill House. Season 2, The Haunting of Bly Manor. That's really what it's called. So I'm excited. Have you seen the show? Did you enjoy it? Are you looking forward to having a season 2 by the same producers, based on work you might have seen in the past? Like I said, I am. So leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of The Haunting of Hill House, what you thought of all those other movies I mentioned as well, what you think about what you think that they might do with the upcoming series in adapting other great ghost stories or haunting stories to fill out the rest of the series. And as always, please subscribe to our channel. All you gotta do is click on the circle where you see the cat with the glowing eyes. That's Haji. So click on Haji's face to subscribe here on YouTube. Click the bell to get notifications whenever we make a new video. And share the video if you want to hear more about the what they do with the Haunting Anthology here. And I hope you'll watch more of our content. So remember, if you're going to geek out.